What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and welcome to another edition of Giants Collective. As always, joined by Adriana down there, Anthony over there, who's under the weather, so he's going to hang in here for as long as he can, and Entertainah down there. I think winning a game actually made Anthony sick. He didn't know what to do. He's just not used to winning, so it might have messed him up a little bit. But always want to give a big shout out to the sponsors, SeatGeek and Sleeper. You can check us out on TikTok, Instagram. Links are in the description. Also, check us out on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. If you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple, that'd be great. If you want to become a member, you just click the join button, become a member, get the cool emojis, get your name in the outros, and all that good stuff. Larry was kind enough to donate 20 memberships last stream, so we added a lot of members to the collective network, which we really appreciate. So, as always, we start the lady first. Now we're going to start with the good, which the Giants, hey, we're not going 0-17. We won. We beat an undefeated team. This was no pushover. It was a really good Chargers team. But Adriana, give us your thoughts on the game and give us your thoughts on Jaxson Dart's first start.
So I was at the game and it was night and day compared to the Chiefs fans. The energy level was different. I think there were still a lot of fans who were wasn't sure what we were going to see, right? Like, how is Jaxson Dart going to do? How is this offense going to move? Were they going to be able to slow down this Chargers offense? And, but there was still an underlying tone of excitement. I think we all felt that during the week, but then getting to the stadium on Sunday, it was next level. So the crowd was very loud, very involved. And I've said that MetLife, we all hate MetLife and Death Life, as OBJ calls it. But I thought it was so interesting that for the first time, I feel like I really experienced having a home field advantage, because there were back-to-back snaps where Justin Herbert got false starts and that offense, because the crowd was so loud that they couldn't hear anything. And I was like, wow, this is what it's like to be part of the fans that are excited, that we're so loud, we're messing with the other team. It's been so long since we felt that. So there were parts of the game that were so electric. The fact that Jaxson Dart could move the ball right down the field. I know we'll get to Nabers, but Scat making so many plays. His block on the touchdown run was unbelievable. It was the first time that they played complementary football. And, I was really impressed with what I saw out of Jaxson Dart. And I know it wasn't some crazy offensive scheme and whatever, but what I will give Dable a lot of credit for this. He put Jaxson Dart in a position to succeed. He let Andrew Thomas play the whole game. He ran a lot of RPOs, did a no-huddle, quick style offense. And Jaxson Dart was calm, cool, collected. He didn't seem stressed. He wasn't worried. He wasn't throwing up his hands, especially after the Wandale drop, which was a great play by the defender. But, he really seemed like he was in control. He was hyped, a lot of adrenaline. I loved a lot of the things that I saw from him. I think he was accurate. He was smart with the ball. He made good decisions. The line blocking did a really nice job for him. I didn't know what to expect. I was definitely concerned knowing we've got a rookie quarterback going against, this defense and good defensive coordinator and the whole thing. And I was really pleasantly surprised and excited by his performance. I still need him to get his ass on the ground and slide, but that's really the only complaint that I have about him. I thought he did a great job, all things considered.
Before we get to Anthony, as always, want to give a big shout out to SeatGeek. They sponsor this portion of Giants Collective. Hopefully you were able to go down and watch Jaxson Dart's debut. Well, the next game is Thursday night against our beloved foes, the disgusting and gross Philadelphia Eagles. If you want to get tickets to that game, use the promo code Giants Collective 10, get 10% off your tickets. Go watch Jaxson Dart fuck up the Eagles. Wishful thinking on my part. Anthony, what did you take out of the game? What did you think about Jaxson Dart's performance and the Giants win?
I thought Jaxson Dart looked good. I mean, what I always say that I want to see from young quarterbacks, and I've said about Jaxson Dart, it's poise. And I praised him during the preseason for playing with that poise, and I think that poise showed up once again here against Los Angeles Chargers. That was a big moment for him, thrust into the starting lineup, a lot of controversy surrounding that decision from Brian Dable to bench Russell Wilson, and he blocked out all of that outside noise, went up against a top defense and a top team in the league, and just played good, clean, smart football. He didn't put the ball in harm's way. He played within the confinements of the offense, And he just managed it as best as he could, but also added that moxie to the lineup that's been missing from the quarterback position. Those hard runs where he's running into people. I posted this on Twitter. I talked about it yesterday with Carl Banks on my channel. I'm such a contrarian. Everybody's saying, get down, protect your body. I love it. Keep running into contact, man. That's what makes him him. It's that moxie. It's that energy. It's that Baker Mayfield effect. And everybody talks about Jaxson Dart like he's some small 5'11" quarterback. He's the same size as Patrick Mahomes. He's 6'2", 225. He's a big kid, and he runs like a big kid. Patrick Mahomes does it. Why can't Jaxson Dart do it? Obviously, there's limits to it. He needs to protect his body at certain points. He needs to pick and choose his battles. But there are fans who want to nerf him, tell him to just get down and avoid all contact. I'm not with that. I think that's his calling card. That's his separating factor, is that he is fearless. He doesn't care about any of the outside noise, and he's going to play balls to the walls for 60 minutes every single game. That's what I love about Jaxson Dart. It's what I loved about him at Ole Miss, and I think it showed up on Sunday afternoon versus the Chargers. So I know I'm going to get heat for that, and a lot of people are going to flame me. Whatever. I think that's what makes him him, and when you take some of those elements away from him, you're going to nerf the quarterback entirely, and that's how you're going to stunt his growth, because you're going to take away his confidence. But he looked confident. He threw over the middle of the field well. That was something that the Giants didn't have with Russell Wilson in the lineup. They couldn't throw over the middle. He was a little bit better in the red zone than Russell Wilson was, but they still do need to clean that up. But when you flip over to the defensive side of the ball, that's where the New York Giants finally started to live up to their expectations. That defensive line, that pass rush was legit. Dexter Lawrence not only pass rushing, but how about intercepting and returning it down inside the 10-yard line? That was a legendary moment. I wanted him to get that touchdown so bad. That was awesome.
I know.
But Kayvon, Abdul, Brian Burns just harassing Justin Herbert all game long, and you could see that it took a toll on him, and it did affect him. So I loved the performance from this Giants team. It wasn't perfect. They have a lot to clean up. But again, they were going up against a really tough football team, and this is a big step in the right direction. Obviously, the asterisk of Malik Nabers, which we will talk about soon. But I was really impressed with Jaxson Dart, and I think that Brian Dable did a good job not putting too much on his plate, but allowing him to just go out there and play his game.
Your comparison, him to Baker, man, I love that. I think that is so like the way they play, like the physicality and the moxie and the confidence. Hopefully he's as good as Baker Mayfield. That'd be great, because Mayfield was the first overall pick in the draft. But that was such a great comparison. Chris, we did the game together. We had a blast. We obviously went through a lot of ups and downs because, the Giants take a 2-possession lead, and then like 2 plays they give them right back. But what did you think? What did you think about Jaxson Dart and their performance?
I mean, I kind of get what Anthony's going with there. There was not a more exciting play in that game for me, at least from an offensive standpoint. Was a play that didn't count for anything because there was a penalty. But when Jaxson Dart got pushed back, and then he was able to fight off and pick up that extra yard or two, and he put his body on the line, right? So as a fan and as a player on the team, yes, that definitely gets the team amped up. But I more so line with Adriana, and I know that may not be the popular take from some fans, but I don't want my quarterback to put his body on the line when it's not necessary. Is there a time and a place for it? Yes. When you're on the goal line, when it's when you need that extra yard to pick up a first down on a 4th down or a 3rd down, I get that. But overall, I do think he needs to do a better job of sliding as he progresses throughout his career. He did a really good job, though, throughout the game. At the end of the day, went up against the top 5, top 10 defense in the league, didn't turn the ball over, made some plays when they needed to be made. Anthony talked about him being calm, cool, and collected. The one play that stands out to me, when they're backed up on their own 1-2 yard line, him to make that 20-yard completion, I think Darius Slayton to get them out of the end zone. Mm-hmm. That was a huge play in that game. Giants could have been in big trouble there if they went 3 and out and they had to punt from their own 3 or 4. That was a big play for a young quarterback against a really good defense, pinned up, at his own 2-3 yard line. But I'm glad that Anthony touched on the defense, because that was the star of the show for me. And I know Jaxson Dart, rookie quarterback, got the win, deserves his flowers, right? But the defense, and you started to see them come to life last week against the Chiefs. I actually thought it was a similar performance overall. It's just that the previous week, when they had the opportunities to make plays, they dropped the ball, literally. When Okereke had the ball in his hands, he allowed Pat Mahomes to rip it out. We dropped interceptions. But overall, you started to see life from that defense against the Chiefs. They were getting consistent pressure. And then I saw a lot of people on Twitter after the game this week saying, oh, well, that's not that impressive. The Giants were able to do that against a beat-up offensive line. But don't people rag on the Giants offensive line every year when they're beat up and they say, oh, you need to have better depth? So when we do it against another team, you're going to downplay the fact that they had a couple of injuries and you're not going to give credit to the defense? I thought it was nice to see that we had a dominating performance. Abdul Carter was insane And I know I don't think he had a sack in the game. He had 9 pressures. He created a penalty. I think it was an intentional grounding that would have been a sack.
Yep.
He was incredible. Brian Burns continues to be incredible. Dexter Lawrence, of course, with the interior pressure, coming up with the interception, should have been a touchdown. And I know we were all ragging on Shane Bowen at the beginning of the year, and by no means am I a Shane Bowen fanboy, but I'm going to give credit where it's due.
Mm-hmm.
This defense is starting to hit their stride, and I've seen that now for 2 weeks. They went up against a good quarterback the last 2 weeks with Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert. I do think this defense is starting to morph into what we were hoping they would be preseason, and hopefully that continues. So that to me was the thing I was most excited about. And I can't not mention the offensive line. The offensive line in this game, and I think we gave up 5 or 6 sacks, but I think a lot of that was on a rookie quarterback, Jaxson Dart. Overall, I thought the offensive line did a terrific job. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Andrew Thomas, of course, is back in the lineup, but that was a very encouraging sign as well. The run blocking, Scadaboo had some lanes. He had a lot of highlight plays. I know everybody loves Scadaboo, but the offensive line is what excited me on the offense more as much as anything else. I thought they had their best overall performance year to date as well.
Yeah, I was big thing for the Giants. They kicked off. They got the Chargers off the field. And then the first drive, Jaxson Dart took the Giants 89 yards for a touchdown. And I thought it was imperative that the Giants get ahead for once and that they were able to play from ahead. Obviously, the Chargers losing Joe Alt was huge. They already went into the game without Slater. But, like Anthony said, I don't think they try to put too much on Jaxson Dart's plate. I feel like they kind of eased him into it. They didn't ask him to do too much. He did hold on to the ball a bit too long. Sometimes that is a rookie. He'll get better at that. But what I like about him is he didn't make any mistakes. Yeah. Did his numbers set the world aflame? No. Did he go out there and throw for 450 and 3 touchdowns? No. Did they win? Yes. Look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had 3 games in which he's thrown for 152 yards or less. Jalen Hurts has thrown for 600 yards this entire season. Russell Wilson threw for 450 in 1 game. The Eagles are 4-0. Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't win games unless he has to, but he doesn't lose games ever. That's kind of the way Jaxson Dart played, in my opinion. He didn't have to win that game, but he also didn't lose it. He got out ahead, he played smart, and he allowed the defense to really kick some ass. And me, as an old school Giants fan, as a defensive guy, nothing makes me happier than watching the pass rush get after the quarterback. Chris, you said good quarterbacks. These are 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league that they pretty much shut down in Mahomes and Herbert. Yeah, Abdul Carter was insane. Brian Burns right now will be the player of the year. He leads the league in sacks. He's second in pressures. He's second in quarterback knockdowns. He's like third in batted pass. The guy's been unbelievable. Yeah. And this was definitely Dexter Lawrence's best performance of the year, getting that interception and constant pressure. The Giants, I'll tell you what, they talk about Jaxson Dart being hurt after the game or like sore after the game. And there is no doubt Justin Herbert, he was in the ice tub for a while. That Giants defense was absolutely insane. And like you, Chris, I'm not a Shane Bowen fanboy. I'm not sitting here saying Shane Bowen should keep his job. But Shane Bowen has definitely learned from that Dallas debacle where he played that soft zone and gave it up. He has been much more aggressive with these guys. He's let them play to their strengths. He's let them go in after the quarterback. And we've seen these guys get after. The last 2 weeks have definitely been the best the defense has played. And if your defense plays like that, you're going to be in a lot of games. And if the quarterback doesn't make mistakes, you're going to win a lot of games. So it's a very impressive performance for the Giants. Again, this wasn't a bad team. They didn't beat the Jets. They didn't beat the Titans. They beat the Chargers, who, Chris, you picked them to go to the Super Bowl before the year was over. But a lot of people love the Chargers. They're really
they swept their division going into the game. They had beaten all 3 teams in the AFC West. A lot of people are high on the Broncos. A lot of people high on the Chiefs. So you can't downplay this win. You can't say, Joe Alt got hurt. The Giants have injuries all over the team. I don't want to hear that bullshit. They beat a 3-0 team with a rookie quarterback. Yep. It's one of the more impressive wins the Giants have had since we've been calling games on YouTube, Baddog, and we've been doing this for, 8 years? 8 years. I would say their top 4 or 5 wins since we've been calling games. When you factor in rookie quarterback going up against a really good team, it was an impressive win.
Defense, yeah, listen, man, it's a big win. And now we have a team that is not good. They're winless. And we should be able to beat them. However, we talked about the good thing. Now, obviously, we have to bring up the inevitable here and talk about the elephant in the room. And Anthony, we'll start with you. As nice as it was to win the game, we suffered a devastating loss when our guy, who a lot of us said we're going to win the Triple Crown this year, Malik Nabers, went out with a torn ACL. He's done for the year. What kind of damper does that put on the victory, and how can the Giants nobody's going to replace him, but how can they overcome this going forward if they can overcome it?
I don't really know if they can overcome it. It's going to really have an effect on the Giants offense, not just from missing your number one receiver in the passing game standpoint, but he soaks up a lot of double teams. He takes players out of the box and he creates running room for Cam Skattebo, for Jaxson Dart, Devin Singletary. Those guys, obviously on Sunday and the weeks prior, Skattebo against the Chiefs, you have Malik Nabers outside getting double teams or with the safety help over top. Maybe he's not getting a ton of receptions. He didn't have a ton versus the Chargers. He didn't have a ton versus the Chiefs, but he's still making an impact just by being on the football field. And now without him on the football field, that's an extra defender that's probably going to be in the box until Jaxson Dart can prove that he can pick defenses apart. And that's what you ask how they can overcome it. The number one way they're going to overcome this is if Jaxson Dart is a really quick learner. If he's able to start picking apart these defenses and forcing them not to play loaded boxes against them, because on Sunday, the Giants won that game offensively because of their rushing attack. Cam Skattebo was moving the ball. Jaxson Dart was rushing with effectiveness. Even Devin Singletary had a couple of decent runs. They combined for 161 total yards on the ground. But if they're going to rely on that every single game, they're going to have a tough time because defenses are absolutely going to look at them as one-dimensional, start loading the boxes until Jaxson Dart can read the full field and start to make defenses pay when they do load up those boxes. So that's the way that they will overcome it, or that they could overcome it. I'm not going to say that they will, but it is a devastating loss. I mean, you've got your rookie in there for the foreseeable future. You would love to have the number one receiver that you want to pair him with for the next 10 years, ideally. You want to have him out there for the rookie season. Now he's not going to have it. So now you're going to have Malik Nabers, Jaxson Dart going out there and handling even more adversity than was already on his plate. But I think that's where pressure makes diamonds. I think we'll learn a lot about Jaxson Dart, and I think we'll learn a lot about the Giants' offensive skill position players. Can Darius Slayton step up? Can Wan'Dale Robinson earn an extension? He's playing in a contract year. This is a massive opportunity for Wan'Dale Robinson. Can Jalen Hyatt actually earn some playing time and do something when he's on the field? Massive opportunity for him. You're not going to go out there and trade for, I know a lot of Giants fans want T. Higgins or Romeo Doubs or Jacoby Myers. It's not going to happen. The Giants are 1-3. They aren't a good football team. Malik Nabers going down doesn't change that, doesn't make the need to replace him any greater. You need to look to 2026. And right now, unfortunately for the Giants, at 1-3 with a rookie quarterback starting, I know they have a good opportunity to go 2-3 next week if they beat the Saints, but with a rookie quarterback starting, this is about developing him and getting him set up so that in 2026, when Nabers returns to the lineup, you can really turn him loose. This is a learning experience for all of these players involved. So I don't think there's any replacing Malik Nabers. I think it's going to have a big effect on the Giants' running game, but hopefully they can make some adjustments. And I think it's really up to Jaxson Dart to learn how to read these defenses and make those passes that forces defenses to leave a lighter box out there.
Chris, obviously that sucked. We did the game. Hearts are kind of in our throat. Just felt sick to my stomach. You feel sick to your stomach when you see your best player go down like that. You knew it was bad. It was non-contact. He grabbed his knee before he even hit the ground. Who do you think will get the nod to replace Malik Nabers? Will it be, somebody that they pick? I don't think they're going to trade for a receiver.
I think it's going to be
somebody on the practice squad. Do you think they go out there and they sign a free agent? How do you think they replace? Well, there's no replacing him, but how do you think
they replace is the wrong word. You're not replacing Darius Slayton.
You're filling a spot.
You're going to have to reinvent your offense. You're not going to be able to have the type of offense that you envision going into the year with Malik Nabers in the lineup. That's just reality. You're not replacing him. But if you're asking me who I think the number one wide receiver is going to be, I think it's going to be Darius Slayton. He's not Malik Nabers. He's not even close. There's nobody on this roster that's even close to Malik.
He might be watching. Easy, Chris.
No offense to Slayton. I love Slayton. I'm glad he's back. Even more.
I know.
After this injury.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I think there's a way in which the Giants can still be a very competitive football team this year, but it's not going to be in the way that I think they initially anticipated. I think, as we said all along going into the year, if they were going to win games, it was going to be with their defense. That's still the case. And the main reason why they won this last week was because of the defense. The main reason why they even had a chance against the Chiefs was because of the defense. Jaxson Dart is going to have to play smart football, can't turn the ball over. They have to create some kind of run game. I agree with Anthony. This is going to make it even harder to do that without Malik Nabers in the lineup. But we'll see how good of a play caller Kafka is. And if the offensive line could be better this year, it should at least assist in the offense. That's the biggest key for me from an offensive standpoint. It's the offensive. It always is the offensive line, but even more so with a guy like Malik Nabers out of the lineup, the offensive line has to perform. They have to be close to a league average offensive line if we're going to have any kind of functional offense. Because without Nabers in the lineup, if we're being honest, they don't have anybody that you really have to game plan for going into the week. They don't have a game breaker at any skill set position. I love Cam Scatterbo. I love Theo Johnson, but they're not Malik Nabers. You're not replacing him. The defense is going to have to step up and win us football games, and we're going to have to be smart with the football, similar to that of 2022. I think they're going to have that style of offense if they want to win football games this year. That's just how I feel after Nabers went down.
Adriana, what did you think when you saw him? You were at the game, so what did you think when you saw him go down? And who do you think the Giants? They obviously have to fill this roster spot. Who do you think I guess that was my question. I worded it wrong. Who do you think they're going to fill the roster spot with? They're going to bring up somebody for the practice squad? Or are they going to sign somebody? Like, how do you think they fill his spot?
Yeah, the consensus when Nabers went down immediately was like, he's done, because you could see, I saw clips of it on TV, so I'm sure they showed the same thing, but like you could see through his face mask that he was screaming in pain and clutching his knee. And as soon as he fell and rolled over and was holding the knee, I was like, oh my God, we are so done. And it's just so devastating to see these guys go through it, especially someone like Nabers. I'm like, I was so upset after the game because we all know Nabers cares about one thing and one thing only, and it's winning games. Yes, he likes getting the ball. He likes the stats, whatever. He cares about winning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this poor guy, like we finally get this gigantic win over 3-0 Chargers, and he can't even enjoy it because his season is over. Like in the year and whatever that he's been on this football team, this is, like Chris said, like the most meaningful, impactful win that they've had. And this poor guy does not get any enjoyment out of it. So I just felt so horrible for him. And after that, I was worried that they were going to have a hard time bouncing back, because as soon as he went out, like the consensus across the board was, we are screwed and we're in trouble. So, obviously you're not replacing him, but I do think it brings a good opportunity for other players on this football team. In week 2 against Dallas, Wan'Dale Robinson had almost 150 receiving yards. They have to open up that offense again. And if Russell Wilson could do it when he's been struggling this whole year, then I think Jaxson Dart, who has a good history of using the middle of the field, I think Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be a really big target for him this week. I think between him and Slayton, we know that they're going to be the next two guys up. I think Bo Collins is going to be the one who gets the most amount of snaps out of everyone in that third wide receiver role. Even when Dable was asked about it, he said it's a great opportunity for guys like Collins and Hyatt to step up. I also think that they might elevate. He mentioned Gunner, which I thought was interesting. I don't really think we're going to see much of Gunner. I mean, you never know, but they also have Amir Smith-Marset, Little Jordan Humphrey, and they might have Daquan Felton still. So there's definitely options for them to elevate guys to the roster. I think based on those, it'll probably be Little Jordan Humphrey, just because he played a lot with Jaxson Dart throughout the summer and preseason. So I think if they want one more guy who they feel like is really going to be able to contribute, it's probably him. But I think, like the other guys said, it's going to be Darius Slayton is going to have a massive opportunity this game. I think he's up for the challenge. I think he's capable of reining in a lot of targets. And I think the same thing goes for Wan'Dale. I think, if they can do what they did in Dallas, spread the ball around and have it be Slayton and Wan'Dale, they get a lot of those targets with Bo Collins or whoever else it is as the third. It should give them an opportunity to really put up points. The Saints defense is not very good. And I know that all of us are like, we should win this game, but it's the Giants, so you never know. But from a statistical standpoint, the Saints defense is not good, especially when it comes to passing. And, I have the tiniest sliver of faith in Dable after what I saw on Sunday, that he's going to come up with a decent game plan on this Sunday to try and go ahead and beat the Saints. And I think it's going to involve a lot of Wan'Dale Robinson and a lot of other receivers getting involved. I want to see Daniel Bellinger involved. That's really what I'd like to see them do. But I know we were talking mostly wide receivers, so I don't know. I just would like to see him and Theo Johnson split more of the snaps instead of it being all Theo.
Yeah.
I know watching that game, I really was sick to my stomach. It just sucks because, you finally got some juice in the building. You got your rookie quarterback. There's a lot of energy in that building. You're winning the game, and your best player goes down. And at that point, I figured we were just going to lose. The fact the Giants are able to find a way to win the game, even with that, the deflation of emotion that went through that stadium and through the fan base, seeing him writhe in pain on the ground, I thought it spoke a lot to the character of the Giants, which I didn't think they had to bounce back from something like that to overcome that, because that had to be a detrimental blow to everybody. They love Malik Nabers. He is their best player. So I think that speaks volumes. I think that was a good job. I actually think the Giants coaching staff did a good job in this game. Kafka's play calling in the red zone, like inside of 10, he's too predictable. Like, he either runs it all the time.
I will say, and the red zone offense is still bad though. What the hell was that? I will say though, I did really like the red zone play call on the touchdown pass by Dart with the underhand shovel.
The shovel pass, right? But the time
yeah.
after that, like, what were they doing? They ran 3 straight times, and then taking a field goal, they threw a pass. It was kind of crazy, but I think that, Adriana, you mentioned it. The tight end's got to be more involved in this passing game. I really do, because it's going to have to be everywhere. It's next man up. You can't replace Nabers' production with one guy alone. So everybody else is going to have to shoulder more responsibility, and they're going to have to step it up. Wan'Dale's very capable. Anthony mentioned he's playing for a contract. This is your time to shine. Jalen Hyatt, this is his last opportunity with the Giants, and maybe his last opportunity in the NFL. If the Giants don't want this kid back, he has an opportunity to show everybody else, hey, I'm worth the contract. I can play at this level. Somebody will sign me and let me. He has a lot to prove. They traded up to get him. He's a Blitnikoff winner. A lot of people, including myself, had really high hopes for him, and he's been nothing but a major disappointment. It's now or never for Jalen Hyatt. I think he's going to be the guy that will have the biggest opportunity to benefit, if there's a such thing, as the Malik Nabers injury. He's going to be the guy. He's your game breaker. He's your explosive guy. He's your deep threat. He's got to catch the ball. He's got to be more physical line of scrimmage. He's got to get off these jams. And when he has the opportunity, he's got to make a play. It's there someplace. And maybe this is the opportunity where he really steps up and becomes the guy that they thought he was when they traded up to draft him. But you also have to get other guys involved. It's not going to be one guy. It's not going to be Slade. They all have to do it. I wish they'd bring up Turbo Miller. I'm just going to keep ringing that bell. This entire season is bring him up. He's a big time playmaker. Let Fedoni play. Bring somebody up, like one of those guys. But I don't think they're going to carry 4 tight ends. So Fedoni, forget about it. But I'd like to see Turbo Miller. You only got 2 running backs anyway. If you want to rotate these guys and keep Cam Scatterbo a little bit fresh. So Scatterbo wants to punish people, so I get it, but I don't know.
And I will say Motor played well this week too. He was running.
The Giants' offensive line was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what the Giants did for the first time in a long time? They wanted the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Big time.
Yeah.
That does not happen. And I remember last time the Giants won on both sides. That's how you beat a 3-0 team. That's how you beat a really good team. That's how you win football games in the NFL. You win there. Yeah. If we can win there against the Saints, even without Malik Nabers, we should beat them. That's where you win and lose these games. The Giants have got to score and they get in the red zone. That's very, very important. So with that said, we've come to the end of the first half. I know Anthony's getting out of here. He's not feeling good. So Anthony's going to take off during this ad read by SeatGeek. And when we come back, it'll be me, Adrian, and Chris. Anthony, take care of yourself, buddy. Feel better. Thanks for hanging in there as long as you could. SeatGeek sponsors this portion of Giants Collective. Let's hear from our sponsor. 80 seconds back after this. What's going on, guys and gals? You looking for a fun activity? You want to get out of the house? You need something to do? Are you looking for a great gift idea? Well, if so, look no farther than the sponsor of Giants Collective, which is SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Giants season is underway. And say you want to check out Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium? Well, it's easy. Just go to SeatGeek, scroll around, look for the tickets that you want, and SeatGeek's going to have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. That's good. The red dots, well, it's not so good. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click that link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring Giants Collective, and let's go Giants! Let's go Giants indeed. And, of course, big shout-out to Sleeper for sponsoring this portion of Giants Collective. They always sponsor the Q&A part of the Giants Collective, so we appreciate Sleeper. Check them out, man. It's the fastest growing app there is. Over 10 million users on Sleeper already. Enter that promo code HMA. Get a 100% match deposit bonus up to $100 on your first deposit. So definitely check them out. Let's get to our chat over here. We got our guy, SPP Williams. There you go, Chris. He says, happy Win Collective Day. I'm so happy we have a win. I feel like I'm floating in the clouds. Border, what's up with the in the clouds? They want in the cloud. In the cloud. But it was a good win. Sucks we lost from Malik Nabers, but definitely a big victory for us for sure. Mark, thank you to member for 3 months. Says Adriana's right. Dart needs a slide.
Agreed. 100%.
I'm okay with him taking hits, but you can't take every hit, especially when, you know that you're the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. Like Dable told us, he told him it's your job. And, the thing that also annoyed me was in Dart's post game, he was asked, like, what were you thinking when they had to pull you off the field for the concussion thing? And he's like, I didn't like it. I don't want to have to miss a snap. Then slide.
Don't lead with your
you
head.
Know this by now. Like, you don't want to miss snaps. You don't want to miss games due to injury. Get your ass on the ground or run out of bounds.
Yeah, just don't lead with your
Can't
head.
afford you to get injured. Yeah, right.
Don't. Daniel Jones used to do that, and I'd always cringe.
There's a time and a place to do it. You don't do it like Adriana said. You don't do it every play.
Right.
There's a time and a place where you put your body on the line. When you need that extra yard to pick up a fourth down, I get that, or you're on the goal line. But you can't do what Daniel Jones did, and because Daniel Jones was never able to stay on the field because of it, and he's not as big as Daniel Jones, so it's inevitable if he continues to play like that, he'll get hurt. So I completely agree. He's got to be smarter with that, and hopefully that happens. He's a rookie. It's his first game. I get adrenaline. You're excited, but I agree. He's got to be a little bit more smart. He's got to be smarter with that.
He's got to listen to what John Gruden said when John Gruden was talking to him. He goes, when he was getting ready and he didn't run out of bounds, and Gruden said, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of bounds. You got to do it. He does. Again, Chris, if it's 4th and 3 and you got 2 yards and you got to fight for that extra yard, obviously. But when you have a first down, you ran for 18 yards, you don't need to take on that linebacker head on. There's no shame in sliding. You got the first down, live to fight another play. Instead of trying to run over a guy and get an extra half a yard. It's not worth it at that point. So yes, I feel like he has to pick and choose his spots when it comes to putting his body on the line. Kevin, thank you, man. He says, I want Shane to squash all rift rumors and make the trade for Trey Harris to help Dart. We need this to catch traction.
I just don't think we're in a position to trade for anyone. And look, maybe if we were 2-2, maybe if, the games had come together a little bit sooner, I could see them considering it. But we have, I think, 7 draft picks next year. And we were going through this in the family group chat. I don't think they should pay Wan'Dale Robinson. I think they should upgrade there in the draft. But if they wanted, they have to pay Illuminor, Kayvon, Micah McFadden, maybe Wan'Dale. Then they only have 7 draft picks. You need a corner, another offensive lineman, a wide receiver, linebacker. What else? So I just don't.
Another offensive lineman and another offensive lineman
and a defensive lineman, and so I just don't think they're in a position to trade for a wide receiver. What I do think is probably the most likely to happen, and I'm sure you guys have seen his name floating around Twitter at this point, is them picking up Isaiah Hodgins off of the Niners practice squad, because he's been with the team, he's been with this front office, he knows the scheme, he knows the system. So I think if they go for anything anyone outside of the organization, that I think is probably most likely.
Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't seen that, but that for the reasons you stated, that makes a ton of sense to bring a guy like Hodgins back. I agree with you. I don't think the Giants are gonna. You're not gonna get a guy if if you're trading a third, fourth round pick. You're not, as I said earlier, you're not replacing Malik Nabers. It's not going to happen. You're not going to replace an impactful player like that. I don't see the Giants giving up significant draft capital to bring in a decent wide receiver. They're going to ask guys like Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, potentially Jalen Hyatt if he gets his opportunity, Theo Johnson to step up and take a more expanded role. And I think they're going to try to run the ball more than what they may have initially anticipated going into the year. They're going to make adjustments, but I don't see them giving up significant draft capital for that. That almost never works out. Remember when I think it was the year we got Isaiah Hodgins. Remember Giants fans were crying to trade for, what was the dude on the Steelers? Why am I forgetting his name off the top, man? The wide receiver that the Bears traded for.
Brown?
He played at Notre Dame.
Juju Smith-Schuster?
Oh, no. Why am I Chase Claypool. Giants fans were crying to trade for Chase Claypool. They were pissed when the Giants didn't do it. The Bears gave up like a first-round pick for the guy. Or maybe it was a second-round pick that was like the first pick in the set. Whatever it was, he did nothing. I think the Giants, if they are going to make a move like that, it would be similar to, maybe it won't be Isaiah Hodgins exactly, but it would be something similar to that. A guy that you claim off waivers that you feel fits the offense, that could help the team, or maybe make a small trade. But I don't see any significant trade for a wide receiver. I don't see it.
No, I can't see it either. We don't have a lot of cap space either. I think the Giants have the least amount of cap space in the NFL right now. So they don't have a lot of maneuverability when it comes to adding a wide receiver. It probably will be off of our practice squad or somebody else's practice squad. And I do think little Jordan Humphrey would be the guy that gets a nod, because it did seem like he played a lot with Jaxson Dart. And of course, Dart's first touchdown they threw in the preseason was the little Jordan Humphrey. So we'll see. I mean, listen, remember when the Giants cut guys in this preseason? A lot of people were upset. Why didn't he make the team? Why didn't he make the team? Well, this is why you get those practices. This is why it's good to have depth. This is why it's nice to say, why did we cut that guy? Because normally we're not worried about cutting guys because we don't think they're very good. So it actually helps that we have some depth down there in the practice squad that maybe they can come up and make an impact. They're not going to make a Malik Nabers impact, but they can make an impact of some sort. Danny, thank you. He says, in the red zone, we should run more jumbo sets. I don't like when they have Dart run up the middle and not slide. I like the moxie he has. I don't like the shotgun stuff inside the 5 when you're running. I think you need to line up under center and run it that way. Well,
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, every team in the NFL does it now because it seems like everybody's adapted the college. It's almost like you're watching college football now with NFL offenses. So every team plays out of the gun for the most part because it's easy for the quarterbacks to adjust because that's what they play at the collegiate level. But I agree with you. When you're inside the 3-4 yard line, I'm old school. I want you to line up under center. I want you to go I formation. I want a jumbo set, and I want you to pound the ball down the middle. But less and less teams do that now. The game's adjusting.
Yeah. I want to see more tight end involvement in the red zone. I think, especially now with Malik Nabers out, they obviously have issues running the ball in the red zone. So you've got 2 tight ends who are over 6'4", who are both decent pass catchers. Bellinger better than Theo. Even Chris Manhertz can be used as a pass catcher, but you have to utilize those bigger size targets that are going to be able to go up there and make plays like, they should be able to do. Like, all we hear so much is how, Dable loves the tight end position. Theo Johnson only has a touchdown because that little shovel pass, like that wasn't something that they worked on throughout, the whole summer and whatever and stuff like that. So I just feel like for a rookie quarterback like that, especially if there are some concerns around the receivers and drop problems and things like that, get the tight ends involved. Have them all run out in all different directions. They're 6 foot whatever with long arms who can catch the ball. Get them involved. You know who did it last night? Twice? Darren Waller. Darren fucking Waller had 2 touchdowns.
Didn't you mention him? Didn't you mention him last stream? And I said, I'm going to have that damn song stuck in my head now.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned it. I don't remember why you mentioned it.
More touchdowns in one game with the Dolphins than he did with an entire season with the Giants.
That was an incredible catch he made last night, too. The first touchdown was an incredible catch he made last night.
And remember when they tried to do it in the Bills game? They did back-to-back throws to Darren Waller. Do that again. But this time you have guys who you can rely on to make the catch. Why is that not even a play call?
Yeah.
Drives me insane.
Maybe because Dable was calling the plays back then, and now it's Kafka. Maybe Kafka don't like to get the tight ends involved, but I feel like you should. I always feel like when you're inside the 5, it's a good time for a play action pass to a tight end in the back of the zone. Well, listen, it was Marcus Bowe the first week, but now you got Andrew Thomas back. We know Andrew Thomas can catch touchdowns. Maybe you might run a play for Andrew Thomas. I mean, who the hell knows? But I do like, if you're going to run a jumbo package, I like Bellinger lining up as a fullback because he could also catch the ball. So you have a lot more options. But I definitely think the tight ends need to be involved more inside the 10 and inside the 5-yard line without question. I did that already. Dean, thank you, man. When is the last time this team had a lead a game? When is the last time this team has led it? I can't read. When is the last time this team has led a game wire to wire? Dart crushed it. Just wish Greg Van Roten and Wandale would have allowed us to put up more points.
Might have been the Colts game last year. I don't remember because I know they put up a lot of points in that game, but it's not often, Dean. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. It was nice. It's nice for a change to get a lead and hold on to it, although it looked at times like they were going to give it back. But that defensive pass rush just wouldn't allow it to happen. It's funny with Twitter. Twitter is weird. I never understand why some tweets get so many impressions and others don't. I've never really figured out how that works. I have one of my most viewed tweets. It's got like over 400,000 impressions. All it says is sack leader, and it's a picture of Brian Burns. The Carolina Panther fans are up, and that's why that is the way it is. It's the Panther fans. I guess they were pissed that they let Burns walk, and that's something. Let Joe Shane have his flowers. We give him a 2nd-round pick for that guy. And he's played like the defensive player of the year. He's been unbelievable. But I just thought that was funny. I'm like, what? Why is that so popular? But then I saw who was like reposting it and all this stuff. And Carolina Panther fans not happy.
I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I wonder if Panthers fans feel that way about Burns now, the career that he's having with the Giants. If they can relate to us now, where we see everyone else leave our building and go succeed elsewhere. And for once, he goes from there to here and is. It
wasn't like he wasn't successful there, though. He was good there.
They can relate. Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Brian. Panther fans can relate. Panther fans can relate to us.
Yeah,
they can relate. They can relate.
I forgot about McCaffrey. It's a good one.
They can relate. They can relate to us. Yes, they can. Corp, thank you, man. He says, "Hey, Fantastic Four, what up? My hot take is no matter how well Dart does, someone will need to be sacrificed. And I feel that no less than 2 will be fired. When Dable gets fired, Shane will say that it was his decision."
It's too early, man. I know we're reactionary as fans and we're emotional, and week to week we're going to state our opinions. Football's a week-to-week sport, and every game means so much. It's too early. There's going to definitely be weeks this year where I'm like, yeah, they're going to have to fire him. They're going to have to fire Shane. And then the next week I'm going to dial it back a bit. So for me, I have to see the whole season play out before I'm going to conclusively say we're cleaning house, we're firing Shane, we're firing Dable. We're still 4 games into the season. We've only seen 1 game with Jaxson Dart, and it was an impressive performance at that, not just by him, the team collectively against a very good football team. So I got to see the rest of the year before I say we're going to, I when Anthony started to bring up last week that we're going to fire Dable after week 5, week 6, I'm like, calm down a little bit. Calm down a little bit, Anthony. I know you want to get rid of the guy, and I'm strongly leaning, at least at that point before this game, that he's probably going to be fired at year's end. But I got to see the whole year before I could shut the door on Dable and Shane and say blow this whole thing up. That's where I'm at right now.
Call me crazy, man. I'm still on board the Shane train. I got to be one of the few guys that's still in that guy's corner, but I feel like he's done a much better job the last 2 years. And they keep pointing to that 2023 draft. Oh, it was a terrible draft. I mean, who came out of that draft that was really good? I'd have to go back and look at it. Who came out of that draft that we could have had that was really good in the places we picked? I thought Deonte Banks was a great pick.
Which draft did you say?
2023. That was Banks, Schmitz, and
that was a bad draft.
Hyatt. I'm just trying to think of who else was there that we could have taken. It's not like we picked top 5 that year. Yeah. But look at it this way, man. When you start a job, are you better your first and second year, or are you better your year 4? You get better as you go along and you get worse. I feel like he's getting better, and he's never been a GM before. again, that's just me. So, that's probably an unpopular take. There's a lot of people that want to fire Joe Schoen, and I totally understand it. I mean, we're not a good football team.
By no means am I calling to keep them. I'm saying let's watch the last 13 games and let's see where the team's at the end of the year. I think it's too early at this point. Let's see what they do the next 13 games.
Regardless, I still think Schoen should keep his job. I'm out with the coaches, but I think the GM's done a good job.
Yeah,
I respect what Schoen did this offseason. He wasn't ultra aggressive. He did what he thought was right, so I respect him for that. But ultimately, it's going to come down to Dart. I think if both those guys are going to keep their job, Dart's going to have to continue to look impressive.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot of hinge. That's why Brian Dable has a fatal attraction type of thing.
Oh my God, I thought they were going to make out on the field.
Oh, Brian Dable.
Dable also. His post games, I know he was so fired up after a win, and it's been so long since his team has won, but the things that he said about Dart, the way that he said he played well and he did this good, he literally never says that about anyone. It's always, we need to be better. We need to do this. Even after a win, it's things we have to clean up, blah, blah, blah. I was like, this is the most I've ever heard from Dable ever. But also so overwhelmingly positive. And I was like he could have been the meme with the heart eyes just bulging out of his head, because I'm the way that he is talking about Jaxson Dart, you think the guy won him the lottery or something. It's it's crazy. And there was something else that he even with the sliding thing, he's didn't say anything to the effect of I appreciate his toughness, but it's something we're going to work on because we need him to avoid the big hits to stay in games. It was just no, I like his toughness. I like that he goes after it. He makes smart decisions, blah, blah, blah. And I was dude, you got to be the one who's you can't take those hits every time or else I'm stuck with Russell Wilson again. Someone's got to say that to him, and maybe he's going to do that privately. But I was just this is interesting. Also, did you guys hear what Logan Ryan had to say about the Giants? Speaking of Joe Schoen,
I saw the clip. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I saw people were tweeting about it on when I was on the train ride home.
I didn't
play it. Yeah, but I did see the clip.
He basically just said that Joe Schoen was trying to force everyone to take a pay cut, and he was saying that safety room of him, Jabril Peppers, Xavier McKinney, and I forget who the fourth one was. Oh, Julian Love. I was oh my God, I would kill to have that safety room today. But he was saying that, I guess Joe Schoen, I don't remember this, but he said publicly that they had to clear up $60 million in cap space. And he was kind of forcing everyone to take pay cuts. And Logan was yeah, we were not thrilled about that. But I'm I get, in my opinion with that, Joe Schoen had a job to do. He had to clear up cap space. If Dave Gettleman didn't dig us into a gigantic hole,
Logan Ryan signing was a bad one. I remember that. It was a bad signing.
That's what happens with every new GM when they come in. They clean house. When they inherit a bad team, which most of the time a new GM does, they clean house. They get rid of the players from the old regime. So I don't think he should be trashed for that. If you want to trash Joe Schoen, there's a lot of things you could trash him for. But as far as the handling of the older players with their contracts, I think that's a little ridiculous. I think he did the right thing when it came to now. In hindsight, he should have kept McKinney. I still think he made the right decision with Barkley after the fact that he wasn't able to sign him the first year. If you go back in time, I think he should have extended him in 23. But yeah, there's certainly things you could point at. The Daniel Jones contract, of course, didn't work out. There's several draft picks you could point to. But as far as that goes, he was just cleaning up the trash from the old regime, which is what you expect from a new GM. So that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
Cruise on, thank you, man. Looking at the Saints game, these guys are pushovers. Rattler can hurt you on the ground. Their defense is better than I thought. Rattler is 0-10 as a starter in the NFL. And trust me, I've seen Spencer Rattler play as a Sooner fan. Was not good here. And every quarterback that comes out of Oklahoma was pretty good until Rattler. And obviously that led to Caleb Williams. I mean, that's, what that was. Rattler was so bad, they benched him in the middle of the Texas game for a true freshman and Caleb. They went to South Carolina, so you know about him, John. He was a little bit better there than he was in Oklahoma, but he doesn't really worry me. At the same time, we don't play well in New Orleans. So I don't know. I think that our defensive line is going to fuck him up. That's
100%.
Yeah.
That's my expectation going into this game. Like, Baddog, I'm going to look at our schedule right now. Let me look at our schedule. I'm just curious. Is there a quarterback on the schedule who scares me less this year than Spencer Rattler? No.
JJ McCarthy, maybe.
Maybe.
Playing at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is the weakest
Geno
quarterback.
Smith?
Drake May
He's
certainly
going
scares me more.
terribly.
Caleb Williams
Geno's
certainly-
been awful. Geno's been terrible.
Caleb certainly scares me more. Like, we were right about Caleb, by the way, Baddog. 7 touchdowns, 1 pick so far this year. Nobody's talking about him.
I knew he was good.
Caleb, Drake May, those guys scare me a lot more than this is the weakest quarterback we play all year. And the way that the pass rush looked last week, I'm not guaranteeing anything. It's the NFL. I didn't think we were going to beat the Chargers. The Saints could certainly beat us, but I'm not going to be scared of Spencer Rattler.
We're the Giants. Any team can beat us.
Yeah.
Literally.
There's no give-me's with our team.
Yeah.
No, but I think we do from like a matchup perspective. I think we are obviously the better team and have more talent there. And I think, I think the offense is going to be slow in the beginning, trying to figure out what to do without Nabers. Like, I don't expect them to go out there and just put up a bunch of points because the passing defense is not that great. I think they should be able to put up a good amount of points, but I think they're absolutely going to be slow without Nabers out there. And it's going to take some time adjusting. But I think if the defense does what they did last week, which is what I expect them to do, I don't expect the defense to just God forbid, have a bad day on Sunday. I think they already have had enough bad days. But I think the defense will do more than enough to have us winning this game.
Yeah, maybe I'm buying into the Kool-Aid, but I really feel like this defense is turning the corner. I'm not, by no means am I comparing it to the 2007 defense, because Steve Spagnuolo was just a much better defensive coordinator and we had more talent. But it does feel like that team you remember how that team took 2 weeks to really hit their stride? I really do feel like this team, because we didn't play cupcakes the last 2 weeks. We played the Chiefs and the Chargers. These are not cupcakes. No. I really do feel like this defense is going to be good throughout the rest of the year. I really do.
You played two of the best quarterbacks in football.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of pressure on both of them. And if our offense would have done anything, or we would have got the take, if Okereke holds onto the ball to 4 and we pick the pass off we're supposed to, the Giants would have won that game. You don't know. Outside of the game in Dallas, I feel like the defense just didn't finish plays. Against Dallas, we just weren't very good, and I feel like that was scheme. But I do feel like Bowen learned, and he's letting these guys do their thing, and they kicked the shit out of Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
H50, thank you. He says the Giants should look at Ricky White on Seattle's practice squad, 6'1", 3,087 yards, 25 touchdowns, Michigan State UNLV. 4.61 combine, 4.44 pro day. What are your thoughts? That's a big difference. 0.2 of a second.
Pro days always gives you an extra second, right? Yeah. On the 40 times. But to be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about him, Farrell. But I do think that's the route, as I discussed earlier, that they need to take. They need to be shopping in the bargain bin to try to get some guy that could fill out this wide receiver room. I don't want them to go out there and trade significant draft capital for a wide receiver. So I don't know if it's him specifically, but that's the mindset I think that they will have and should have at that position.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Raphael, thank you, man. Thoughts on the epic Cowboys-Packers game? That should never end in a tie. Football's got to get rid of the ties. Mm-hmm. Get rid of it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Oh, I can't play that kid. Games can't take that long. College has it right. There's no way a game like that should end in a tie. Disappointing. Great game, disappointing. Agreed. Somebody should have won.
That's going to be every Cowboys game this year. They have a great offense, even without CeeDee Lamb. They're going to put up points, and they have the worst defensive football. So I'm going to be honest. I was surprised without CeeDee Lamb that the Cowboys were still able to put up 40 points against what I feel is a very good Packers defense. So I was surprised. I thought the Packers would win that game rather easily, and they didn't.
Yeah, Packers have kind of been up and down so far.
Yeah.
This year. As we continue to answer your questions, I want to give a big shout out to Sleeper again for sponsoring this portion of Giants Collective. Let's hear from them. 30 seconds and back with the rest of your questions right after this.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Yep. Check out Sleeper. Appreciate them sponsoring this portion of the show. H50 just brought all the dats. $5, 5 bullseyes. And hopefully we get score 5 touchdowns.
I'm excited to see what Dart does this week because I think this week it does suck that Nabers went down because you really thought that this was going to be the week that it really broke out. With Nabers, I do think they have to change their offensive philosophy, especially early on without him in the lineup. But I do expect them to open up the offense a bit more because we're going up against a much inferior opponent as opposed to the Chargers. I think it's a defense we should be able to move the ball on. So I'm excited to see what Dart could do this week and kind of a homecoming for him. He played at Ole Miss, so he should be really excited for that game.
Yep. Chislo, thank you guys. I think our O-line's finally coming together. Andrew Thomas, man. That's all I gotta say.
I saw the stat out today on Twitter, Baddog, and it's so obvious. Like, you don't need to be a brain surgeon to realize the importance he has on this team. 17 and 18 in the last 30 whatever games he's played as a Giant. 35 games that he's played as a Giant. The Giants are 7-2, basically a 500 football team. When he doesn't play over the last 21 games, they're 3 and 18. I think it said, or 3 and 19. So it's like he is. It's beyond obvious how important he is to this team. So to see him back out there, and I watched the All-22 that Bobby posted on Twitter today or yesterday. He's incredible, man. He's so nimble for a man of his size. The way that he's able to move, he's strong. He's an incredible left tackle. He just has to stay healthy. But for the people that said we got to get rid of this guy because he got hurt again, are you out of your mind? You're not replacing Andrew Thomas.
Yeah.
We waited so long to find a tackle like that. You just got to hope the guy stays healthy. When he's on the field, there is nobody more important to this offense than Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, we definitely he needs to stay healthy. That's obviously incredibly huge. Somebody Chargers fan put an All-22 for the Chargers, and I retweeted it, said, I understand this is a Chargers All-22, but all I'm looking at is an Abdul Carter highlight film. That was what I saw because Abdul Carter was just in there.
And I retweeted the same tweet, actually, because I saw you tweet it, and my thought process when I watched it was, this looks like the Giants offensive line from every All-22 I've watched for the past 2, 3, 4 years. It's nice to be on the opposite side of things.
Yep. Acer, thank you, man. Not only sliding for safety, but if a bonehead tries the late hit, you can add a penalty to it. Yeah, you're protected when you start sliding. They can't touch.
We never get those calls, but it's a good point.
No, we don't. We don't. Especially a rookie. They'll be like, get up, Rook. That's just the way it goes, Pat Mahomes can slide and you can run by him. They're like, flag, you're too close to him. I'm
honestly surprised, and I'd have to go back and look at the penalty distribution in last week's game because I don't know it off the top of my head. But I didn't feel like we got called for many hit penalties on Justin Herbert, which surprises me because he is a upper echelon quarterback, and we hit him almost every play. So I'm a little bit surprised we didn't get hit for more penalties against a quarterback like that.
Irish thing, he says, I don't like Daboll's comments regarding Dart not sliding. I trust him. That's bullshit. He's a rookie that needs to be held accountable for not sliding when he should. Man, Daboll don't want to say anything to upset him. That's like they're in a brand new relationship. It's all lovey-dovey. Just started dating. You don't want to say anything. Even if the girl or guy is frustrating you, don't want to say anything because you don't want to agitate him and right away the relationship's bad. So he's trying to, give him 2 years and let's see how the hell it is. It's just different. You know, I've been in a relationship 25 years. When I was dating my wife, he didn't say anything to upset her. Now let's, it doesn't matter right now. You just let them know what you think at this point. And trust me, she lets me know all the time. Dean, Dangy says, I'm with Adriana. Run some 2 tight end sets. Daboll, Kafka need to prove that they're worth their salt as coaches. In my line of work, you can only do things one way. Then when you don't really know your shit.
Also, we have struggled in the red zone. This is the 3rd year of that being a problem. I am so sick of people being like, oh, it's Mike Kafka in the play calling. Daboll was calling the play calling and we still sucked. Oh, Daboll needs to get his own quarterback. Guess what? We have Jaxson Dart. Andrew Thomas is back. We've had 17 different variations of the offensive line. We have had 9 different quarterbacks. I don't want to hear it. There are no excuses for this team being as bad in the red zone as they have been. Enough is enough. We had Malik Nabers for 18 games, he played 14 last year or 15. So we had him for 17 games, 18 games. Like, it's just unacceptable for them to be so uncreative and have so many failures in the red zone. Like, you guys are supposed to be experts at this point. You've got an offensive genius as your head coach. You've got Kafka, who's got a ton of experience in the league, experience play calling, worked, with one of the best, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, the whole thing. Like, I'm just so sick of this bad red zone stuff. And, there's always an excuse. Like, enough.
They gotta change stuff up because it's incredibly inept down there. They gotta start thinking outside the box. Like I said, he's just very predictable.
Yeah,
it's like a pitcher tipping his pitches. And you know what? Fuck you, Luke Weaver. I can't stand Aaron Boone. Max Fried is dominated. Let's take him out of the game and right away the Yankee bullpen.
What inning is it?
Fuck you. The 7th inning. He went 6 in the 3rd. He gave up like 2 hits and left with 1 out in the 7th, nobody on. Luke Weaver comes in, gives up 3 straight hits. This is why the Yankees ain't going anywhere.
Boone is the worst.
Worst ever. Big move. The Yankees says, don't forget Shane didn't have his scouts in the first draft. No, he didn't. He did not.
I would really love to get to the bottom of that and know how many scouts throughout the last couple of years have been Dave Gettleman's versus Joe Shane's. Because I think 2022, obviously we knew he didn't have his own guys. I don't think they flipped the whole scouting crew in 1 year. So I think slowly but surely they've been adding their own people in there. But I've always been so curious about that. And what I really would love to know is what changes they made to the way that they go about scouting too. Because even since Gettleman was here to Joe Shane, like, you could argue that both of them maybe got lucky on some picks, because when you pick Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence, but then you also pick Kadarius Toney, Sam Beal, and some other people, like, something's not adding up there, right? Like, you should have the same kind of qualifications, like something that you go through when you're picking out these players. So, I don't know. I'm just very curious about that and wish that we got like a true inside look when they do Hard Knocks and stuff like that. Obviously, they're not going to like give away their secrets, but give us some answers.
I think I remember. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a complete overhaul, but I think I remember he got rid of almost the entire scouting department his second year here, and he brought in his guy. There were some holdovers from what I know. Like Mara is part of the scouting department, I believe. Chris Mara. Obviously
Fire him
because of his last name. By the way, I know a lot of people give Mara a lot of shit. Something we should have mentioned throughout the stream. Obviously wish for the best with the news that came out about John Mara with the cancer diagnosis. I don't know. Did they come out with like the specific type of cancer or just said it's just cancer?
I don't know. He said he wanted kind of privacy at this time, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't think they probably won't say much.
John Mara's one thing he is. He's a tough old bird. You know what I mean? That guy's he's not a quitter.
No.
Say what you will about John Mara, and I definitely have. He loves the team. I mean, it's not because he doesn't love the team. He's too loyal. He's just too loyal to people, and he doesn't want to hurt feelings. You know what I mean? And sometimes you own the team. Like, you have to be that guy sometimes, or like we've talked about, get a president of operations and let him be that guy. Let him do it, so you don't have to. But yeah, we obviously wish nothing but the best for John Mara. Nicole, thank you. She says pretty much the only high profile trade I wants for Garrett Wilson, isn't he still on a rookie contract?
Jets aren't trading him to the Giants.
The one guy I could see them getting, maybe Jacoby Myers for a late round pick. That's one guy.
That's more reasonable.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson would cost them a lot. And
that guy's ridiculous. Did you watch the end of that game last night? He made one of the most insane touchdown catches I've ever seen. He's ridiculous.
No, I think I went to bed. What was it, 27-10 or whatever it was? I think I went to bed at that point.
Yeah, but yeah, there are no rush. They just extended him. They're not trading Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I can't see them moving him.
Also, I don't think we're in a position to give up what we'd have to give up for him too.
Yes, I mean, it's just we're kind of strapped right there. To do anything. It's just we're gonna have to get a practice squad guy. It's really it. Big E. Yeah, they're W4. Bears, Vikings, Packers, Niners, Patriots, Raiders. All these teams are beatable. Giants can win. Dart versus Caleb. Jackson's USC's revenge game.
I agree. Those are winnable.
I think they're all winnable games.
Winnable games.
They're beating the 49ers. I'll be there. They're winning.
Patriots, I think we could beat. Raiders, of course, I think we could beat. Bears, we could beat. Yeah, Vikings. Yeah, I think those are all. Packers are the toughest team out of those that you mentioned, but those are all winnable games. All of them.
They are. But
Yeah.
we have the gauntlet. The next 3 after the Saints, we have to
find a way to win at least one of those 3. I mean, we have to win the Saints game, obviously, and then we have to find a way to win at least one of the 3 between the 2 Eagles and the Broncos game.
Yeah. Without
If
question.
I feel like if our defense I don't know, the short week thing might be an issue, but I think if the defense continues to play the way that it's playing, we have a chance at beating the Eagles once. But that also depends on how they bounce back without Nabers. Because Jalen Hurts has barely been passing the ball. He's not great under pressure. So I feel like if the defense can force some turnovers, if they can sack Hurts, if they can put pressure on him, then I think we have a chance, at least in one of those games.
We have to stop them from running. That's the big thing.
The thing that's scary about the Eagles, though, guys, is they're 4-0, and you look at what their stats. Jalen Hurts has done nothing, statistically speaking.
So saying nothing at all.
He's got like 500 yards passing. Saquon Barkley's averaging 3 yards a carry.
Yep.
He's only got like 250 yards, and he's on 70 carries. He's averaging like 3.1 yards a carry. He hasn't been very impressive. They're winning games on like block kicks, but they just find ways to win games. They piss me off so much. But the scary thing about the Eagles is they're 4-0 and they're not even clicking yet. So they'll be tough.
A lot of Eagle fans
are not playing great football right now. So I do think the Giants have a chance to be competitive in those games. I agree with that.
The Eagle fans are very down on their offensive coordinator. And I guess A.J. Brown is not happy. And A.J. Brown wasn't happy a couple of years ago. And then all of a sudden they found their groove because they started throwing him the ball. And even if you force it to A.J. Brown, there's really nothing wrong with that because he's one of the best receivers in the league. Henry, why the fuck are we underdogs against the Saints, putting 700 for us to win? The Giants were a 1.5 point favorite at the beginning, and all of a sudden they're a 1.5 point dog. I think somebody put that on Twitter that I don't know, it was Art Staple.
My brother said the same thing.
Favorite, and now they're a 1.5 point dog. So 3 points is a huge.
We're a 2 point dog now.
Okay, well, it's
all because of Nabers.
I think it's because of Nabers. Yeah,
it has to be. But what have the Saints done?
But this was after Nabers was hurt. They knew this, so I don't know.
Well, they set the line, and then the betting public changes it.
Yeah,
so the line was initially set at 1.5, where the Giants are favored, and I think
a lot of money went on.
They're saying Nabers is hurt. We're going to bet the Saints.
Yeah, a lot of without question, a lot of it went on the Saints. Good, Henry, win your money. That's the way you should do. With that said, that brings us to the end of another edition of Giants Collective. As always, really appreciate you guys and girls tuning in. It was nice to talk about a win today. Hopefully, we're talking about another win next week. Of course, we'll be back Thursday. Maybe I might have to do the Yankee game if there's a game 3. Looks like they're going to lose tonight. They're going to have to win tomorrow, which I will be calling that game. But I want to give a big shout out to Sleeper and SeatGeek for sponsoring the show. Again, you can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. You can check us out on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, you can check us out. And we appreciate you guys, girls, tuning in. So for Entertainah next to me, Adrian on the far right, if you're looking at the screen, and me on the far left. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to go scream at the TV and yell at the Yankees, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. We out. Peace.